Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more Legacy action. Today, at the request of a donor, I am playing some Blue-White Ocelot Pride. Ocelot Pride is normally sort of in the Mardu colours, but we've got some of the same tools here. So, Ocelot Pride and Guide of Souls, this just allows us to get some energy and jump our creatures and make a lot of creatures and gain a lot of life. We've also got the Voice of Victory here, which gives us lots of creatures to trigger the Guide of Souls and also means that we can play without fear of counter magic. And the red creatures it gives us are actually really useful here because that gives us a red permanent for the backside of Ajani, so we can actually get the damage off when we start doing the zero ability, which is pretty cool. We're also running Plow, just like the other builds do, and we have Haliya, which is like another Guide of Souls in terms of getting the life gain train rolling for the Ocelot Pride. Now this is where we start to differ because we get to play a bunch of blue stuff here. So we actually have less threats than the other builds, but because we have Brainstorm and Ponder, we can actually dig for those threats as well as like other pieces of interaction. So it ends up being kind of similar in terms of the amount of threats that we're going to feel like we have, but we just get sort of a little bit of grease to the wheels. So you can also dig out things like Force of Will, Force of Negation, Daze, and even dig for the Brazen Borrower we have. We have a one of Lavinia. So this is going to be messing our opponent up with what they can play. This is going to hurt some combo decks for sure. Then we have Mockingbird, which is kind of the reason to play blue in this list, really. So this is X and a blue. It's a flying 1/1. It enters as a flying copy of a creature that has mana value equal to or less the amount of mana you spent. So for just one blue mana, you can make it a copy of Ocelot Pride because you don't have to pay X and the blue. It's the total mana that was spent on the card. So this is just extra copies of good cards in our deck, which is going to be pretty nice. But we are slightly lower threat overall because we're playing a bunch of blue spells and stuff, which does mean that we might not always have as many targets for Mockingbird, which is something I would like to look at today. In terms of the mana base, we've got Wastelands, we've got Karakas, we've got a couple of basics, so we can play on those, and we do have our Surveil Land. Sideboard-wise, we're not messing around with graveyards. We've got 4 Lane Under the Voids here. We've got a Null Rod for the Artifacty decks, although Lavinia is very good against them as well, usually. A couple of Consigns, Hydroblast, Force of Negation, just more counter magic, really. Harbinger of the Seas, Containment Priest, Stony Silence, Prismatic Ending, just a bunch of cards that are not really surprising to see in our sideboard at the end of the day. And with that, I think we'll just get right into it. So like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 10k subscribers, so try and help me hit that by the end of the year. If you watch my videos and aren't subscribed, why not? It doesn't cost you anything. Anyway, let's get stuck in. The new year is here, and what better time to clear out your unwanted cards than now? My lovely sponsors 3for1 Trading are buying all Magic cards and collections of any size. They will quickly appraise your collection and give you a fast, non-binding ballpark figure so you know what you're working with right away. They buy collections from anywhere in the world. You can ship them cards, arrange a courier, and they even make in-person visits for large collections to offer full peace of mind. Click the link in the description or visit 3for1.gg/sell-COW to start unloading your unwanted cards today. Okay, we have our combo, so we'll keep... Opponent is a known Painted Servant player. So we've got to watch out for things like Fury somewhat. There is an argument here to fire off the Ponder first and then go for Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride on the same turn so we can guarantee they're doing stuff. We missed 1 damage by doing it that way. Okay, does the Daze change my thoughts? Okay, I think we just play the Guide of Souls now that we have a piece of disruption already. An Urza's Saga. A Painter's Servant. So when this pops, they can just try and combo us. Understood. I think we go for this Ponder first. Lavinia. These aren't really what we need. This is going to be a shuffle. A Force of Will. We don't want to leave those cards we don't want on the bottom of our library at this point. So I'm just going to play this. And probably we can pitch a land to our Force of Will. We're going to need to find a Wasteland next turn. Don't think there's any point attacking. They're just going to bounce off one another. When the Saga pops, we die. I think we're relatively good at stopping their just playing a Grindstone to kill us. A Goblin Welder. Don't like that very much. So this could enable them to combo this turn with the Lion's Eye Diamond. Right, they're just drawing a card with the Soul Guide Lantern. We need this turn to be really good. Source of Plowshares. Mockingbird. This does not do what we need it to do. Is there any point showing our opponent more of the cards that we're playing? I'll have another Ocelot Pride. This gives us the ability to attack with this and jump it. You've got a pretty impressive board. Unfortunately, we are dead. If they draw it, we're still dead because they can just cast it. Although maybe we get through with a Daze if they draw their grindstone and they only have like one. It's very unlikely they only have one. It's usually 2 to 3 in the main deck. The Lands of Diamond might also mean our opponent's running Khan in their deck, because being able to wish for something and then crack the diamond in response and immediately cast the thing you wish for is pretty powerful. Floating mana off their Saga. The fact that we haven't scooped yet might suggest that we have something, so they might play a little bit longer, because we're representing Swords to Plowshares, so they might try and get themselves in a situation where they can win through a Swords to Plowshares. Or they'll just go for it now, because they've got this mana floating. An Imperial Recruiter. Don't want you having an Imperial Recruiter. Right, they're just going for the grind now and we don't have anything. Unfortunate for us, but we've got some tools, I would imagine, here. Hydroblasts seem decent. The Consigns seem good. Stony Silence and Null Rod. Prismatic Ending. These all seem good. I don't really like playing the Force of Wills into our opponent's deck that is full of Pyroblasts. And the Dazes don't look very good either against them for the most part. But all this stuff is like absolutely banging, so we'll keep that. Containment Priest can stop things like Phyrexian Dragon Engine. It can also stop Welder from getting back creatures. Is that better than anything else we have going on? Brazen Borrower can buy us a turn. Do I like these Dazes? Maybe these Dazes are just better as Containment Priests. Let's try that. We're not trying to go super hard in Graveyard Hate with Ley Lines, but these can beat down, which isn't the worst. Null Rod is nice. I guess we keep this one. We've got Plow as well. A really early Blood Moon could be an issue. Mulligan to 4. That's not a great place for our opponent to be sat at. We can just run them over quite quickly with some of the things that we've got on offer here. We play the Guide of Souls out first, because the Ocelot Pride needs to connect to gain us life next turn if we play it. And then they could play a creature that could maybe block it if they ramp out. Let's get this Ocelot Pride in. And then I think we're going to Wasteland here. It might just be on an Urza's Saga hand, and we can hopefully run roughshod over that. And at some point we're going to find another land, but we don't need to do anything from this point on. We already have scaling power. So if we miss on land, we can still hold up like the Consign and the Plow. If we find land, we can drop the Null Rod. Tell all the boys. Cat's coming in. So now we're going to have the energy to jump our cat and gain more life. Put out of reach to Lightning Bolt. We can do that on the Guide of Souls. Right, they found a land. It's going to be the Fable. A Lightning Bolt on our poor, defenseless, innocent cat. Scandalous behaviour. I would very much like to Brainstorm and improve my hand. Got some manners. Don't think we need all of these plows. Probably not playing this either, are we? Put this on top though. And I'll deploy this one. Get the bits in. Yes. I think we're going to put this on the Guide of Souls itself so it dodges Lightning Bolt and a Braid and stuff like that. We don't have to care about Fury because we have Consign, so we can just consign the shoot your guys trigger. An Imperial Recruiter. I could sign this? I think so. No tutoring for you, opponent. There's a Voice of Victory. I think I'm okay to plow this. Crack in. I'll go and get a white source here. And we don't have... We can't get basic plains off of this because it's the wrong land. Do I want to get a basic island? Yes, in case they have Blood Moon, I think it's probably worth it. Let's go for Voice of Victory. We've got lethal on board. And we can beat various removal spells our opponent has. Alright, we won that one. Our opponent did mulligan super low, so it wasn't exactly the most difficult of tasks. This game 3 is probably going to be the more interesting of the games. I like how we are here. I'm just going to resubmit. We didn't show them that we got Null Rod, so they might not bring in answers to it if they don't know. They might just think we're trying to rely on some counter magic and white removal. This is kind of putting a sizable burden on the old Brainstorm, I think. I'm okay to keep this, I think. The Wasteland is very good against Urza's Saga. We have an aggressive game plan. We don't want to just mulligan towards reactive stuff and give our opponent time to get out of their mulligan. They've gone to 5 again so far. So not the best of them. Now, obviously, they have a combo deck, so they can just win the game out of nowhere. I will be getting a Tundra here. I want to get pressure down before anything else, I think. If they're going to kill one of our creatures, I'd rather kill this Ocelot Pride since we have a backup one. Lightning Bolting at end of turn? Yes, they are. Okay, so we've played around that. And there's a Saga. That's going to get Wastelanded. They've got an Engineer. Engineer's good. What goes into the bin? Is it part of their combo? No, it's the Dragon Engine, so they've gone for like the value play. I'm going to cast this Ponder, I think. Because we're not shuffling this turn because we want to Wasteland. I want the Source Plowshares, but we're going to need to hit land. I think it's in any orange shuffle. Okay, we did hit the Tundra. Is it more important to take out the Wasteland? To use this Wasteland? I think it is. Just going to keep their resources down. If they go like Great Furnace, they can bring back this Phyrexian Dragon Engine, and that's quite solid. There is the Great Furnace, as anticipated. Let's go for Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride. Just yield to the Ocelot Pride trigger, and just continue our little cat parade. They're going to be able to undo their mulligan. Okay, they didn't want to give up their land for a Phyrexian Dragon Engine. Okay, Ancient Tomb. This is going to be Khan the Great Creator. What does this find them? An Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, you got it. A Voice of Victory. This is probably time to Brainstorm, isn't it? I like the Swords to Plowshares quite a lot here, obviously. Then we put back this and... Is it just Voice of Victory? Just the voice. And then we can plow this creature. And we can attack all of these at the Khan. At least deal with that problem. And I think we go and get... Does it matter what we get here? Is it plains? No, we're casting the Mockingbird, aren't we? So it would be an island. I think we just get the Tundra here. Have another cat. Then the cats do their thing. And then next turn we have the City's Blessing. So this Ensnaring Bridge will keep our creatures at bay. However, if they ever have one card they can't cast in their hand, then we get to sort of steamroller through with all of our guys. Null Rod is interesting. Attack with the team. Right, they're pitching that Syrian Spirit Guide from their hand. Let's play this Null Rod. We get to make a lot of cats. If they ever pass with like one card in hand, it's going to be real bad for them. We don't quite have lethal yet, but at the end of next turn we probably will. Another Khan the Great Creator. Not in love with that one. They probably don't want to minus it. So if they put a card in their hand, it's pretty bad news for them. Unless it's when they're immediately going to cast, which I doubt it is. They could have some kind of like Ending Explosive style card where they can just drop that and sweep out all the guys. Right, they're going for it. Is this going to be an artifact they can play? It has to be, right? Grindstone, sure. We want to draw a Brazen Borrower, I guess. Start with this Brainstorm. Guide of Souls is not what we want here. I guess we go Guide of Souls Plains. And we Meticulous Archive away. Get rid of the Plains. Then we can Brainstorm here. I think my opponent's mana are a good idea. I think we just put the Ponder on top for next turn. And then get a Guide of Souls in so that we're going to have lethal damage next turn. I haven't done the maths, but it looks like it's going to be lethal to me. And then next time we can use that Ponder to dig for the Brazen Borrower and just swing in for lethal. Goblin Welder, that can start chewing through their library using the Dragon Engine. No cards on our opponent's hand. Right, Ponder, be good to me. Consign to Memory isn't really the one here. So shuffle. A Mockingbird. Then we just have another Ocelot Pride. We have a lot of cats. Unfortunately, our opponent has a way of winning the game that doesn't impact our life total, even though our life total is now 102. If we were playing a Mardu build, we'd have access to Goblin Bombardment, which would just be lethal here. Hydro Blast. Doesn't do anything. They've got to be careful about taking extra cards. A Goblin Engineer. No, thank you. Counter target spell if it's red. I do not want you putting whatever you want into your graveyard to then welder back. I don't think we come back from that. And just plus in the Khan. Swords to Plowshares. We can try and plow the Dragon Engine. I think get one go with it maybe. Paint Servant. If we'd have held on to our Hydroblast. Although obviously if we let them get the Paint Servant then they're in trouble. We don't immediately fire off this plow. The Null Rod is keeping their stuff at bay. We don't have an artifact in our graveyard. Obviously they can weld the stuff in and out as well. We've already got our Meticulous Archive. I'm going to hold this Arid Mesa for Brainstorm purposes. How are they going to get rid of this Null Rod? Okay. They could have attempted a Lattice Lock here. Curious if they don't have the lattice lock. Containment Priest. That's actively real good for us. Because we can stop them being able to welder this Painted Servant in and out. So I will play that at the end step. Alright, just playing out of the land. They're revealing an artifact card they own from outside of the game. It's a Tormod's Crypt. They're playing Tormod's Crypt. Okay. Not too bothered by that one. It's time to find Brazen Borrower deck. We've been patient. Flooded Strand is not a Brazen Borrower. A land. Okay. Classic ensnaring bridge game if ever there was one. Deck. Could you not? I think we should be playing around Blood Moon with at least one of these lands. Another Grindstone. That doesn't help them out of this fix they're in. It's up in the Khan. They really not have Lattice Lock in their sideboard. We would like to take a land out of our deck anyway. So let's go and get our basic planes. Oh no, we can't get basic planes. It's already in the bin. We milled it over with the Meticulous Archive earlier. Prismatic Ending. This doesn't quite do what we need it to do, unfortunately. Is there any way we can get a third colour in our deck? I don't believe there is. So this can just remove a Painted Servant, which is fine. They can welder to get something else in. Or just let it go. Our opponent can cast all of their spells here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have enough to cast a Fury if they draw it. Just a plateau. Okay, we're getting something from exile. Is it going to be a Painted Servant? It is a Painted Servant. Sure. Ajani. We don't particularly need more creatures here. We're going to make even more cats. Our opponent's basically trying to draw into a braid, I think. Wonder how high our life total can get. More triggers, please. Okay, we got 155 energy. Nothing to do with it, though. They can reveal a card from outside the game. What card is it going to be? It's a Pithing Needle. Okay. Well, what are you naming here? They need to play the card in their hand and this Pithing Needle. And in Wasteland? Ajani, Nacatl Avenger. Okay, so the backside of our Ajani. That makes sense. Not sure how we're ever going to kill one of our own guys. Maybe we'll figure something out. A Magus of the Moon. I will float white in response. And I'll plow this. When our out is Brazen Borrower, we need to make sure that we are able to cast it. Our board has gone very zoomed out because of the enormous amount of creatures we have. A Voice of Victory. There is a little wrinkle when it comes to trying to cast the Brazen Borrower, in that our opponent can weld the bridge out and then weld it back in again. So we probably need a removal spell and the Brazen Borrower. Trying to draw to our one-of Brazen Borrower is a bit of a big ask, isn't it? Urza's Saga. I wonder if that can get them anything that gets them out of where they are. Probably not. Another Voice of Victory, you say? Feels like Magic Online is struggling a bit with the amount of nonsense that's happening here. Don't think we really need to keep casting any more spells at this point. Pyroblast on the Null Rod. So they found their answer before we did. And they've got the Tormod's Crypt. They're definitely going to go for it. Yep, they got us. We were trying to draw to a one-off Brazen Borrower that also needed us to have a removal spell. Maybe we were supposed to, when we used the removal spell earlier, we're supposed to hit the Welder when we had the Prismatic Ending instead of the Servant. I think that was actually a misplay on our part. It didn't matter, but it could have cost us the game if we did draw our Borrower. Yeah, we had one answer to Ensnaring Bridge. That feels like an issue with our deck, perhaps. Let's go to round number 2. One land. We could just play on this one land, but we don't actually have what we need to make these really pop off. On the draw, am I just going Plains Ocelot Pride? If we find another land, then our hand is pretty good. How many lands have we got on our deck? 19. Okay, I'm going to give this one a whirl. We'll play on just a basic Plains and start doing cat stuff. Cats do get out of hand awfully quickly. A lot of things that get played on turn 1 don't really enjoy being attacked by a first striker. So we're quite likely to be able to attack into it regardless. Basic Plains. Ocelot Pride. Let's get stuck in. Find another land at any point will be good. All our other lands tap for blue. Or it's a Wasteland, I guess. Ah, Dueling Cats, you say? Ah, we didn't draw what we needed. That is unfortunate. Do you want to trade cats here? They do. I'll play another cat. And then we get to make some more cats. We'd like to find a land. A Guide of Souls. You got a kitty cat? They got a kitty cat as well. I get to make a kitty cat here. Meticulous Archive, you swine. That's not what I wanted. Do I want a Wasteland? It is a land that helps us cast 2 spells next turn. Okay, I'm going to plow the Guide of Souls. Attack with the Ocelot Pride. They can trade their Ocelot Pride for it, but they have to double block. Okay, so we're going to get in. We're going to get tokens here, and we can trade tokens for Ocelot Pride. In theory. If they play Golden Bombardment, we are 100% dead. Alright, I'm just going to skip that. There's no way we beat that. Okay, to the sideboard. Prismatic Ending, bit of removal is going to be useful here. The Hydroblast are probably going to be where we want to be. Their mana is kind of vulnerable to something like a Harbinger. They're probably not going to play around us having it either. Force of Negation isn't really where I want to be here. Probably trim a Force of Will. Daze on the play are pretty solid, but they just play so many 1-drops that this doesn't feel that good. How about Lavinia? Is that actually going to make any difference here? No. It's just a 2-2. Maybe we'll take out 1 Daze and try this. I think our opponent's version of the deck is better than our version. I do prefer the builds with Goblin Bombardment. Now, I'm biased because Goblin Bombardment is one of my all-time favourite cards. But still. Ocelot Pride into Ajani with some nice blue spells to back it up. Okay. We are getting a Tundra here, so we are going to be marginally exposed. We could get a basic and just have the Daze as our pitch card. Is our opponent going to wasteland us when we just stick a cat, though? That seems like a really good way of just falling behind. But if their hand can't do very much, then they might do that. But why would they have a hand that doesn't do much? They get to choose what's in their opener to some extent. Right, there is a Karakas, a Swords 2 Plowshares. No, thank you. Now we get to make a cat. We get to bash. So we're already making 2 cats a turn. Next turn will be 3, and we're going to be in the City's Blessing before you know it. Guide of Souls, sure. An Elegant Parlor. So gaining life here could be slightly difficult because this is a 1-2. I will attack with everything. They get to eat one of our cats here, which makes me a little bit sad. But I get to go Ocelot Pride here. Do I want to Wasteland them is the question. I think this Force of Will already does enough, and I would like to cast this Ajani next turn. The other option we had there was to cast the Ajani first, and then if they kill our cat, we get something good. This has got First Strike. Actually, I don't really want to play against that. They don't have a land here. That makes me want to Wasteland them. Go for this Ajani first. Now we attack with everything. I'm going to eat up one of my cats, but that's going to flip my Ajani. And I'm going to put a counter on every cat I control. I'm going to take them off with red mana. Okay, I think we have successfully put an insurmountable amount of damage in play. They're starting to do the thing too. But our guys are bigger and better. I haven't done the maths. I'm pretty sure I plus Ajani, turn all my guys sideways and they die. The ultimate of this is quite interesting because it's like Cataclysm. So I can make them lose all their creatures bar 1. But we don't need to do that. We're just going to pump it and then we're going to attack. So they got 3, so they block the 3 biggest ones. 1, 2, 3. They're still taking 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Something along those lines. Source of Plowshares also doesn't help them out. Okay. I don't like the Daze very much on the draw, so out they come. What comes in? Maybe we bring back in a Force of Will. And then what? None of this other stuff is really mattering. We could maybe have like some random consigns that become super clutch at certain moments. So let's say they attack. We can consign the Guide of Souls trigger and gobble up one of their guys. That might be better than having a Daze in our deck, truth be told. Or we can stop a cat trigger for a turn. I don't think it's great. But it's either that or we play a 2-mana 2-2. I think when we get to leverage it, it's going to be better than just having a Grizzly Bear. Okay, we got a removal spell. We've actually got 2 mana this time, which is pretty cool. It's the cat. We plow the cat. A Thoughtseize. My hand is pretty good. What do they take here? Guide of Souls or Swords to Plowshares? I think those are the 2 that I'd be most interested in. They took the Guide of Souls. Did they not hit a land? Well, neither did we. Okay, let's go and get ourselves a basic island here. Just dodge Wastelands. Jam a guy that attacks for 3 a turn. Cabal Therapy. So now we lose the Source of Plowshares. If they didn't Ponder, that would really suck because we just draw another one. They didn't Source of Plowshares. Okay. I'm going to try and Ponder so we can then make another land drop. Karakas, Hydroblast, Ponder. Sure. Karakas in. Jam our creature in. We don't need to play around phases very much or anything because we know our opponent can't do anything because we've got voice. So we got 3 damage coming in this turn, 6 coming in next turn, and we can try and Ponder again looking for some action. Guide of Souls, just on his own. Drawing a lot of these Ponders. Okay. Wasteland it is. I'm not going to let them know that we have the Wasteland until after we've attacked. Just in case it changes how they want to block. I doubt it will. Wasteland, get out of here, Scrubland. Attacking for many damages. Shadowy Backstreets. That's not the one you wanted, was it? Coming and tap like that. They probably just have to be on blocks with this Guide of Souls. Is our deck just all Ponders? Harbinger of the Seas and a Tundra. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? This allows us to hold up Red Blast in case they have Amped Raptor. And then hopefully we can just slam the door with this Harbinger of the Seas and they just don't get to cast spells anymore. Does turn off our Karakas, but if it turns off all of their mana, I'll take it. You're going to get a non-basic. They probably have to get a plateau here. You've got to do it. If you're casting a spell, you need to do it now because obviously you can't cast spells in my turn. So if you've got your Orcish Bowmaster, we need to know about it. Go get your plateau. Play your Amped Raptor into my Hydroblast. And then we can move on. There's the plateau. Orcish Bowmaster. Sure. I am prepared for this. You attack with everything. They can gang up on one of them and lose like an Orcish Bowmaster but still take some damage. That's fine. Then we'll hold up the Hydroblast just in case they manage to find a way out of this. And then next turn we can Ponder with something else. Alright, they're scooping it up. The Harbinger of the Seas are actually coming in clutch there. It wasn't so much that we were a blue deck though. It was that we stumbled on mana in one game. They stumbled on mana in this game. In the middle game, they beat us. Or did we win the second one? I can't remember now. No, I think we just run roughshod over our opponent, didn't we? Like, this is very much like a snowbally matchup. As soon as you start getting ahead, you just stay ahead. Let's go to round 3. Another one-lander. It's just the Ocelot Pride. We can make more Ocelot Prides. We're on the play, though. Alright, let's spin the wheel again. Like, this hand gets very out of control very quickly. Let's see if we get killed by getting a Tundra here. They're unlikely to wasteland us when we have a threat in play. That's just generally a metric that people tend not to do. But sometimes you have a hand where it's like, okay, well, if I can cheese this game, that's probably my only way. We've got a Daze for this turn cycle. Next turn we can Mockingbird, Wasteland. Just keep the party going. Painter's Servant, you say? I want to say no to this one. Because we've got a Force of Will for the next thing, I'm just going to get this Mockingbird out there instead of Wastelanding. Because they might have to block their own land anyway. Let's get many cats. Okay, so we're not going to be able to wasteland this mountain. But we can... I don't care about Lotus Petal. Is this the One Ring? No thank you to Favour the Mirror Breaker though. Card is good. Can't believe we didn't draw another cat. Where are my additional cat? This is a cat bird. Let's pass it over. Let's make some more cats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we do get into the City's Blessing next turn. Alright, we've got Wasteland for that. There's a Saga. Sure, you can have a Fable. We can always gain life because this guy flies. Let's see what we're drawing. Meticulous Archive. Voice of Victory. That's fine, but I think I'd rather have a removal spell here. Or another Ocelot Pride. That's a bit of a banger, isn't it? Alright, let's take out their Saga here. Just get in with my flying guy. The powerful Catbird. Welcome to Cat Town, opponent. I think we got, what, 21 damage? They're going to need an Ensnaring Bridge quality card. Alright, they've had enough. Don't blame them. So, Painter. We've done this Song and Dance before. Let's get Stony Silence, the Prismatic Ending, the Null Rod, the Consigns, and the Hydroblast in. I think we want to call it on at least some number of Force of Wills and Force of Negation. I think we took them all out before. Don't really like Dazes on the draw, sorry. Lavinia is okay. This is 60 cards. We've just changed our counter magic for some hate pieces. Do I want these Containment Priests? Containment Priests are probably better than Lavinia most of the time. Voice of Victory is just a lot of bodies. It's not that exciting, but I think it's still fine. Yeah, we'll keep it like this. I don't really like forces in this matchup, but I think maybe we actually end up needing them sometimes. So I'll just keep a couple in there. Guide of Souls into some stuff. This hand is perfectly fine. This plays a normal game of Magic the Gathering where we start applying pressure. Is that enough? The Wasteland is the thing that's making me think it is, because this deals with Saga, which is kind of like one of the big things. And we do have a Borrower, which can take something out of play at a good time. Right, they've mulliganed to 5. But we've seen that these games can take a long time. Although we don't really want games to take long. We want to just snowball people and put them in the dirt. Okay, that's a pretty scary 1-drop, isn't it? I think we're going to play on basics because of Blood Moon. It also means that our Prismatic Ending can answer an Ensnaring Bridge if we have our 2 basics and they play a Blood Moon. Okay, so we are almost certainly dead here because they're just going to go and get themselves Chaos Defiler, right? And then they can just defile our poor little guy. Yep. Now we're not stone cold dead. We can bounce this. If this is all their hand does, then we can beat that. I think we just petty theft this now. And hopefully they don't find a discard outlet. Goblin Beatdown? Goblin Beatdown. Containment Priest. I'm going to Brainstorm, I think. Some more lands. Don't particularly want all these lands. I guess we try and ambush this. They're not going to play around a Containment Priest here, are they? So we can try and ambush this Goblin Welder in combat. Or is it more important to ambush the Engineer? So there's the land that we've kept our Wasteland for. No attacks from our opponent. A shrewd move for sure. Just getting a creature that can turn sideways. Say no to this. I'm going to play this out pre-combat so that if they have any spells, they have to cast it before I go to combat. In with the Priest. Get a little kitty cat. Doesn't have any friends to make it gain life yet. I played Soul Sisters on the channel a few times and I've really been impressed with how good an Ocelot Pride deck that is. And if you think about it, the energy deck, the main thing that it's doing, like the best thing it's doing is Ocelot Pride. So maxing out on that seems like a good idea to me. A Braid, you got it. Karakas, not that interesting. Let's Meticulous Archive and see what's on top. Another Ocelot Pride. Honestly not what I want right now. I'm just going to play the Borrower. It does get red blasted though, is the issue. I talked myself into playing this Voice of Victory instead. I think I have. Should have played it pre-combat then. But if they wanted to abrade the last one, what would they have in hand they can't cast? We know it's a Chaos Defiler, but what about that other card? We'd hit a null rod before they can find a way of making red mana. Well, that's the thing I just asked for. I can soak up a little bit of damage with this Goblin Engineer. I'm still going to get some damages across. Let's get this null rod in. That means that Chaos Defiler is not hard castable for them. Because they need to have like a Mox or a Lotus Petal usually to cast a Defiler. Now, there are definitely some builds that have like a one-off black source that they can tutor for. Just go and get the bad lands off of a fetch land at some point. I can't remember if we saw a fetch land in game 1. We're getting Pyroblasted. It felt like they've had a Pyroblast this game. And there it is. Okay, so we were right to get the Voice of Victory in the last turn. Nice little vindication on that one. A Mockingbird. Let's have a little kitty cat. Now we can attack. We get the City's Blessing, so we get 2 cats off our cat at the end step. So we're going to gain their life this turn, but we're also going to make all these warrior tokens. Because that's how this works. 5 mana. This is a Fury. It's going to lose the Ocelot Pride and maybe the Voice. Yeah, we lost the Voice. Okay. Probably on 5. Can't force through enough damage just yet. Let's get this Voice in. This probably gives us enough, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bodies. That is exactly lethal if they do nothing this turn. If we swing out, we know they don't cast any spells because we have the Voice of Victory, so need to cast something on their main phase. Agatha's Soul Cauldron. That doesn't do anything on its own, does it? We do just have lethal here. Let's just do another count. Let's make 2 guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures. They block 3, they take 5. They can't cast spells. This won't do anything. Yep, we just have lethal here. I wonder what I've missed. Right, we've got the GGs in chat. Alright, so we managed to turn our fate around. We lost a painter earlier. The painter build we lost to earlier was a bit unusual. Karn isn't really a stock part of the painter decks. But we can be happy that we managed to turn it around here. So we're 2-1 going into round number 4. This hand is fine. I think I'll keep it. We've got a piece of interaction. We've got a curve, 1-2, which is reasonably good. The Voice of Victory gets to jump to the sky. Just a ponder from our opponent. This could be Doomsday. It could be Blue Black Tempo. It could be an Esper deck. It could be all sorts. Grixis control. We genuinely have no idea. Well, we have some idea, I suppose. We can't get a basic off of this, or basic planes anyway. So we're better off playing this Tundra. No, I think I'm just going to go and get a Tundra off of this land instead. Gives us slightly fewer lands in our deck to draw. We still got a fetch land for when we have a Brainstorm later on. A Thoughtseize. Don't like that very much. What do they take here? They took our other threat. Well, that feels terrible. Maybe we'll just draw a new threat though. A Ponder. We're probably not Wastelanding this turn. We might want to Meticulous Archive. I'm just trying to work out if we play a land to play around Daze. I don't think we do. Daze, Force of Will, Mockingbird. I'll take the Mockingbird. Daze, Force of Will, Mockingbird. Do you want Daze? I don't think we want more counter spells, so we need more action. I don't think they are killing this turn. Let's find out. Let's get another one. Now they might take this kill as an option. And then we have to decide if we're defending this or not. The difference between having 2 Guide of Souls or having a 1-1 bird is quite a lot. Ponder from our opponent. It's kind of feeling a little bit like a Doomsday deck. I know, it's just the vibes I'm getting here. Could be way wrong though. A Big Daddy Murktide. Well, we don't want to fight against that, so here comes our Force of Will they know about. So presumably we're getting Dazed. Yep. And then we need to draw an Ocelot Pride. And then we might be okay, because we can probably outrace this with Ocelot Pride. Let's Ponder. Brazen Borrower is pretty nice though, isn't it? Do you have another Daze? We only get 2 damage in if this works. Alright, we're getting a Force. So now I'm very unhappy with the top of our deck. I think we got Voice into Force maybe. So I think we are Meticulous Archiving next turn. So they should come in for 6 here. Do they have a follow-up to keep our creatures at bay? We can always block with our Flying Guide of Souls at some point. But I don't really want to do that if I can avoid it. So we draw the Voice. And then we deploy the Voice. And then we know if it's safe to attack with these or not. I'll gain some life. Let's have a look at the top of our library. I think it's the Force. It is. So we get rid of that one. Now we can attack. Let's go the one that isn't a Mockingbird. Because then they both fly. And then next turn, we just gain 2 life by attacking. So our opponent might hold back a little bit this turn. No, we're rumbling. Okay. In comes a 6/6. If we draw a Ocelot Pride, we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if we draw Ocelot Pride and nothing changes from our current board state, then they lose, I think. Dismember is very good. They took a life and left up mana. Oh, they're playing the Death Shadow build. I actually recorded with this just a few hours ago. But it was on the channel like last week or whatever for you people. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, we did draw the Ocelot Pride though. Rest in Pepperoni's opponent. Okay, attack with both creatures. We can chump block 1. I could even just take it if we wanted to. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have lethal on the crackback if we just... But I don't want to get Bowmasters. But this build didn't have Bowmasters when I played it. I think we're supposed to... Are we supposed to play around that or not? If they just play like another guy, we're going to feel silly. Yeah, I'm just going to soak up a little bit of damage. And Ajani would be pretty solid. Just give us enough tokens to get into the City's Blessing. A Mockingbird, you said. Don't kill my creature. Please. Oh wow, they're just scooping it up. So what happens here is this gives us enough energy that we can trigger both of these. So we just have lethal this turn. Nice. Death's Shadow, you say. Prismatic Ending probably is worth a crack here, isn't it? I don't believe this is a Force of Negation matchup. The Containment Priest, because they do have 2 reanimates in their deck. I don't think they're coming out here. The Dazes look pretty poor. But I think we still keep a couple in. And we have something that looks like this. That seems Fine to me. Containment Priest is better than the Leyline because this is just like a creature that we can do stuff with as well. Whereas Leyline is very much an all or nothing. That's for the please don't kill me turn 1 opponent sort of deck. We're on the draw. We have a Brainstorm. I'm going to keep this. I don't really want to get Wastelanded here. We could be on basic planes to start. We'll see. We ideally want to put both of these together though, which does make us want to have white available, but we also want to be able to Brainstorm, so we're going to need to throw a Tundra in there somewhere. We'll see what we draw. A Daze. No fear. Let's go to Tundra. If they Daze this, we get to Daze back, which would be delightful. Please don't Wasteland me. Not a Wasteland. A Ponder. We don't care about the Ponder. We're just passing over there. Back to attack. A Snuff Out, you say? I'll say no to that. I'd like to keep my cat around. There's Brainstorm, looking for another land. If they've got a fatal push, they might fire it off here. Well, they're dazing our Brainstorm. I guess no then. I feel a little bit exposed with just one land. Our opponent knows we have just the one land. It's a really interesting Brainstorm. Really interesting Daze. And Orcish Bowmasters. No, it's our turn to Daze. Please work. It worked. Yay. Okay. We get to continue to make cats until morale improves. Which is, you know, good thing. Cats do improve morale at the end of the day. I believe we are going to cast this Ponder. I don't know if we want these cards or not. Well, we definitely want 2 of them. So I guess we keep those 2. We'll leave the Ponder on top so it can't be Thoughtseized away. And then we get in for a little bit of damage. Reanimate on Orcish Bowmasters. Well, that sucks. Okay, goodbye, the thing we had going on. Now we probably have to... Okay, maybe we don't have to deal with Orcish Bowmasters just yet. Maybe we have to deal with this annoying shadow first. We can probably get a Meticulous Archive. The top card of our library is a Wasteland. I don't really want a Wasteland right now. So we'll crack that for a Meticulous Archive in the end step. Try and dig our way into something a bit better. Baleful Strix is good. I think we are favoured in this matchup, generally speaking. But we know they have Engineer Explosives as a tool they can reach for in the sideboard, which is obviously a pretty good one. Double Strix. Yeah. Like most of our guys are 1-1 anyway, so these aren't actually as problematic against us as they are against some other mid-rangey style decks. Yeah, I'll take this block before I can grow bigger. It's fine by me. Go, Gadget. Meticulous Archive. Flooded Strand, you can get right out. A Sword, 2 Plowshares. That's a useful one. And now I get to Ponder without fear of harassment from the Bow Boys. Ocelot Pride, Voice of Victory, Lavinia. All these cards are pretty decent. So next turn we want to Ocelot Pride. So I guess we put the Ocelot Pride second down so that we can hide it from a Thoughtseize. Am I willing to trade these bodies? I don't think so. I can just take a little bit of damage. This being able to soak up like a big Death Shadow hit is more important to me. Plague Engineer, you say? I wonder what they're going to name. It's cats, isn't it? Let's be honest. Goodbye. Okay, so the Ocelot Pride, which is what we just pondered for, is looking shabby at best. Cool. We get to play our Voice. We can trigger Haliya next turn to draw an extra card. So we can play this and then crack in. What is the next card down? I can't remember now. I think, is it Ponder? Just take 2. That's fine. This is a one-off if they're playing the list that won the challenge. And I'm recording this quite soon after the challenge was won by the Underground by the UC player. Oh, it was Lavinia, wasn't it? I'll take a Lavinia. Just going to at least attack into the Plague Engineer. Gives us the better race. And then if this goes away, we can just go and dump this out. I assume we're just getting chipped away by the birds. A Death Shadow. Yeah, that's not a great thing for us to see here. Another Voice of Victory. 5 is a lot of damages. Am I willing to take 5? We could bounce this and attack in with this guy. Get 2 damage, put our opponent to 6. And then what? It's always the tricky part, isn't it? And then what? 5, 6, 7. Okay, I think we can afford to take a hit off of the Death Shadow once. Then we have... So they block this. This is 6 damage. That put our opponent to 2. So if we bounce this, It's 8 damage, right? So if they... Ooh, leave me with the Borrower? They did not leave me with the Borrower. Okay. If we draw a land, we can just hard cast Haliya. That him was real good. Alright, just getting him with the birds. Doesn't even want to attack with the Death Shadow. Uh-oh. There's a Murktide as well. That's a pretty good reason not to attack with the Death Shadow. The amount of time they're spending casting this pretty much confirms it's a Murktide. Yep, big 6/6 Murky Boy. A Mockingbird. Actually a good draw for us here. If it resolves. I guess they can't cast any spells for free. So we get a Baleful Strix here. Which can trade with one of their guys. And draws us a card. Alright. That's something. They might just chip in with the Baleful Strixes. Yep, just a little chip in. I like this. Attack from our opponent. No. Ooh, big Death Shadow getting stuck in. And the Murktide. They're leaving back the birds. I'm going to take this trade with the Murktide and just take 5 off of the Shadow. Dress down. So we lose the game, right? Because this is going to be a 13 power creature. Yep. Okay. Interesting. I think I like how I sideboarded still. The Dazes do get better on the draw. So maybe I'll swap a Lavinia for a Daze on the draw. Call it a day. This hand is good. We've got the combo. We've got protection for it. We just need to not get wastelanded. Go, go, Gadget, Guide of Souls. We get to wasteland our opponent on turn 2, potentially. Polluted Delta. We're getting Thoughtseized. Do I care about Thoughtseized? Stripping our Ocelot Pride is kind of irritating. Fatal Push. Not having that, though. You got Daze? No. Ocelot Pride. Start this little train going. I think I like just taking them off of mana. Make it hard for them to get into the realm where they get to cast Plague Engineer and stuff like that. Cats make cats. Guide makes life. We do need to find a land if we want to cast anything else this game. We're getting Engineered Explosives for 1. Or we're getting Dismember on our Ocelot Pride. Poor little guy. Swords to Plowshares. Not the one we wanted. We don't have enough energy to make this clock very impressive either. And we now have the situation of our opponent's life total going down can help them deploy a Death Shadow. Now we have a Swords to Plowshares which can hopefully cover that, but now they're just going to be looking for Wasteland, and they already have the Wasteland. Sure. I think our opponent wins this one quite handily from this point. I guess if we just draw runner land, that's okay. There's the Death Shadow. Not a land. Okay. We can crack in. There was a real cost for us using that Wasteland, and not because we could have played the Voice of Victory the follow-up turn if we didn't Wasteland. That was a decision we made. So we could have the same board but with a Voice of Victory, which can then gain us enough energy to jump the Guide of Souls. That is something to be aware of in this particular situation. Okay, we'll take some damages. Hitting our opponent back for little bits of damage is a bit of a poison chalice. Okay, so if we can find a mana source and just plow these guys, if you plow one, they both die. Force of Will, okay, that's not what we needed to get. We probably chump block one of the shadows this turn. Goodbye, little cat token. Ponder is good. We just need to use this Force of Will to protect our Swords to Plowshares if we draw the land. Like, I think we probably still lose if we use that Wasteland to play the Voice of Victory. But maybe... Well, we still would have got Wastelanded, I reckon. Block with my 1/1. Reserve our life total a bit. We're getting snuffed out, aren't we? Again, we're not protecting that. We just need to protect the Swords to Plowshares if we rip a land off the top. We're going to draw an island now. I feel it in my bones. Okay. We didn't draw an island. I think we have to get a Tundra. Let's plow this guy. A Daze. We have to do this. Let's get through the days. Oh wow, it worked. Okay. We've got a very nice 2-for-1 with Swords to Plowshares. Not a thing that happens particularly often. We're going to see some little birds. There's a little bird. That is a much slower clock. And it's also not a Bowmaster, so we can Brainstorm in freedom. I think I would like to Brainstorm here. If we hit a land, we get to play the Guide of Souls as well anyway. Okay, I think we're just going to keep the threats. Just going to get ourselves another Tundra. We're kind of all in on non-basics at this point anyway. Here comes a Guide of Souls. We can recover from this position. The Voice of Victory will gain us a bunch of life and attacks and jumps. Brainstorm from our opponent. That's a good one. We know they've got some really good cards in their deck for this matchup. Lots of removal. They got sweepers as well in the Plague Engineer and the Engineered Explosives. A Ponder. They did not shuffle the Ponder. That's worrying. That's like Fatal Push territory right there. I'm going to take one off of this Baleful Strix. We need our Guided Souls to survive. Source Plowshares is nice for the next threat that comes along. Daze. Can't pay. I'll chip in for one. I really don't want to have to source the Plowshares this Baleful Strix. Every creature we play kind of just invalidates an attack of it. Underground Sea. Reanimating on my Voice of Victory. That's a little bit on the rude side, isn't it? We probably have to source the Plowshares that. There's too much DMGs right there. 2 cards in our opponent's hand. They have to be reactive spells. Goodbye Voice. We can Daze a Bowmasters. We can pay for a Daze if our opponent has one themselves. Okay. More or less top deck wars. Ponder is a very good way to begin a top deck war. Especially when they have 2 mana left over. They could just immediately go into a Murktide and we die. We didn't technically have to kill the creature. The Voice of Victory. We could have let it ride for 1 turn. But then we just get really, really low. Right, here comes the Murktide that I just spoke about. And that'll be very lethal. So what is our deck supposed to give us now? Another Plow. Haliya. This gains us 2 life. Which isn't enough to draw a card to dig for a Plow. So we're just dead. GG's. I thought we had that one for a while. And then I thought we didn't. And then I thought we did. And then we didn't. Lots of back and forth. It was a good proper little game. I'd be happy to play into this matchup again. I think our hand in that obviously had a little bit of a wobble with the amount of mana, and we could have mulliganed and it might have been okay. Alright, so I think we're, what, 2-2, but we're playing a lot of games still. The ones we're losing are only just losing them, so that's a good sign. Let's go to the final round. Too many lands. I think we're going to mulligan this one. Oh, we love keeping the 1-landers, don't we? I will keep this. Double threat. I don't know if we want the Force of Will if we're already on a mulligan. Let's try this. Opponent's mulligan to 5. Maybe we did want the Force of Will. Is it going to be time for Oops or Spells? We finally get to use those ley lines in our sideboard. Let's go and get Tundra, no fear. Jam the friend and pass it over. Eye of Ugin. So on that Eldrazi life, I would like to ponder to hit another land. We did hit another land. Technically. I guess we take out the eye. I was hoping to hit another blue land, another white land so we could play the Ocelot Pride. Is this going to be a Chalice to the Void? No, thank you. My hand is all 1-drops. Oh, have you got a Spirit Guide? There was a moment where I thought I had a Spirit Guide and we're going to die horribly. I think it's better to get another cat in than it is to get an Ocelot, to get a Guide of Souls in here. Bash for 2, we get 2 cats. Cavern of Souls, naming Eldrazi. This is going to be a line breaker. You tap my Ancient Tomb. Fleshraker with no follow-up. A Brainstorm. Well, maybe this one will find us a land. It did find us a land. I don't think this is a Lavinia matchup. I want the land. I think the Plows are very good just to get over the finish line here. I don't think we need another Ocelot Pride. Maybe we do want another Ocelot Pride. We blow this up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 permanents. More cats. I want more cats. Just gonna get Tundra here. Plow the Fleshraker before they can do scary things with it. Bash, we gain 2. We make 2 go. Okay, looks like they're scooping mid-tap of our creatures here. Alright. We managed to do the Eldrazi stuff. Harbinger looks great. Consign to Memory looks great. I think we also need a Prismatic Ending for their Chalice of the Void. Force of Negation is arguable for Chalice of the Void as well. Lavinia seems great here. Daze on the draw. I don't think we want those. So that's probably what we're running with right now. And then we can think about Dazes on the play. We're very cold to Chalice. I don't think we have enough answers to Chalice in our deck. Just the whole 75. It's the reason why that Ensnaring Bridge killed us in round 2. We just don't have any answers. That's all permanent. Obviously a banger. Pretty big banger. We'll keep this. We can ponder on turn 1. Right, just the Eye of Ugin. Okay, so they also have the Lotus Petal, so we might be getting clipped by something big. I don't think you play this out if you're not playing something. Because I think you would rather have the option of Ooh, I like the Wasteland, but I don't like the other cards here. And we then have to draw through it. I think this is a shuffle. Source Plowshares is great. So I think because you might draw a Glowing Fleshraker that you want to cast on the next turn, and by holding this in hand, you get to cast it. There's no way our deck has Chalice in. We're not doing discard stuff. We've got loads of mana. We don't seem to be going anywhere with it. What about a Lavinia? If you're casting that Kozilek's Command, you want to do in response to this. They're going to make some friends, and they're going to do a little bit of scry action. Let's see where they put these cards. 2 on the bottom. We love to see it. Next time we can shut down their mana. Cavern of Souls. You got it, boss. Reality Smasher. That's a pretty large friend, isn't it? Do we get to Harbinger of the Seas here? Or is this just too much damage? Well, we obviously have the removal spell for it. We could just plow this and then plow the next thing as well. And then untap and slam the Harbinger. That's probably the safe cowardly way of doing this. I think we're in safe cowardly mode. In the Herald's End. That's not big enough for me to care about on its own. A Thought Not Seer. What are we doing here, opponent? That's mean. Alright, so we're going to kill this, discarding probably Brazen Borrower. And then we're going to plow this Thought Not Seer. Now we have a Brainstorm. We can protect this card in our hand. We're going to put this on top, obviously. Do I like this as a land? Probably just want to put 2 spells that we're interested in. A 3/3 on this board looks pretty good, to be honest. I think we put these 2 on top. There you go. What do they take there? The Mockingbird. Sure, so we take 2 from these guys. Oh, you really got wastes over there. Am I supposed to Brainstorm and play the Haliya? Is that better? They have a Cavern. Guess we can just shut off the Cavern, can't we? Let's just go blue, blue, white. Harbinger of the Seas. Let's shut a bunch of stuff off. I can sit back and block these spawn tokens. I can trade a Lavinia for it that heralds the end at this point. It's fine. Our counterspell actually worked. We got 2 basics for our opponent. So now we can just play the Haliya. Just gains us a touch of life. Takes us off of an even number, which is good when our opponent's dealing probably increments of 2 here. We don't get to attack. Our opponent's on a lot of life. They might be able to hardcast something like a Devourer of Destiny, which just unlocks all their mana. Or they can just keep drawing lands. Right, it's our time to shine. Let's draw a card and then do some brainstorming. Do we need to do brainstorming if we have the Voice of Victory? Probably not. This guy can attack pretty effectively. Gains us life as well. I could brainstorm. I think we're going to wait till next turn to brainstorm. We're just going to hold up this forcible blue card. We shut down the Cavern, so we may as well play into that line. If this attacks, it gains us 2 life. Alright, they found something here. A Thought Not Seer. I don't really want to have to deal with this body. Because the 3/3 can crack in. Ponder, let me add it. 2 more Voice of Victories. Don't really like the Wasteland, but I do like just playing a bunch of voices. Which is very okay, but I'll take it. Okay, let's start turning some guys sideways. We turn these 2 sideways. If we just turn this guy sideways, they can block it for no value for us. But if we attack with both, they either stop us drawing a card or they get to like clean up some of our guys. I would very much like to draw an extra card here. Alright, so just going to go for that and take our Voice of Victory. So we're going to get a card at the end of turn. I don't like them tapping a bunch of mana here. Thought Not Seer. If we were doing the draw a card play, we could have stacked our deck in a better way. Now they've got 5/5. And we got to draw through this rubbish Wasteland. I think they're doing a pretty good job of putting us to bed here. Oh, they got a follow-up. Something big is happening. Kozilek's Command. X equals 4. Yeah, that's pretty scary. I think our opponent's done enough to win this one. Next card we're drawing sucks. We'll leave it in hand for brainstorm purposes. A Glaring Fleshraker. Chalice the Void, X equals 1. That's pretty good against a lot of the best things that we could draw here. Or just a lot of the things that we can draw full stop. Thought Not Seer can start rumbling soon. No, didn't fancy it. Alright, more food for our Brainstorm that we're never going to get to cast unless we draw our Prismatic Ending first. We just turn everything sideways soon. Brainstorm we can't cast because of the Chalice. Ocelot Pride we can't cast because of the Chalice. Well, we can cast it technically. It just doesn't help us out very much because it gets countered. We could force through an Ocelot Pride using a Consign to Memory. because you can consign the Chalice trigger and then replicate it. The replicated copy works. So your original copy gets countered, then your replicated copy counters a thing countering your Ocelot Pride. So we could get an Ocelot Pride on this board. It heralds the end. So now they've all got 2/3. Surely all these boys are coming sideways. I think we're just done here. Let's just save our time and go to the third game. Do I want to do anything differently on the play for game 3? Do I like Daze a little bit more? They seem very easy to outplay us with Daze, so I don't know if I'm about that life. But I also don't want to get done by Chalice super early doors. Maybe the Force of Negation can become a Daze, so we don't have to pitch cards to it. Mockingbird we can cast through the Chalice because we can put any amount of mana into it. Come on, give us a banger hand. That hand's really boring, isn't it? Like, I think this is a keep. We play on basics, we have Plow, we have Wasteland, we brainstorm into a threat. Like, it gets where we need to go, most likely. Oh, they've gone to 5. That makes some of our tools a little bit more exciting, I think. Let's play out this island so we can brainstorm in response to a Chalice if we want to. Ancient Tomb. Chalice? It is a Chalice. I'm going to brainstorm. Do I want to brainstorm? We can just brainstorm on our turn, couldn't we? Let's just get rid of the Mockingbird. Just say no to that. We can brainstorm on our turn if we want to. We don't really need to though, do we? We can just Wasteland this. If they're on a multi 5, having a land that taps for 2 is kind of important. So taking that away from them is good news. A Wasteland. Well, I'm not going to play into that one. So now we cast our Brainstorm finally. Okay, we're going to put back a couple of lands, I reckon here. Let's go and get our basic planes. Is it Lavinia or is it the Voice of Victory? I think it's Lavinia. Just to make sure things like Kozilek's Command aren't a thing we have to care about. If we get Meticulous Archive at end step, if they want to Wasteland it and take themselves off of one of their lands, they are very welcome to do so. Let's go for this. Look at this juicy Wasteland target opponent. Surely you want it. They did not want it. Guide of Souls. Voice of Victory. They can't cast Dismember while we have Lavinia out, so we can just play our stuff this way and save ourselves some clicks of the clock. Okay, miss on land again. Our opponent has had enough. Fair enough. So that gives us a 3-2 finish. We had to fight for it. There's only one game that we managed to win 2-0. What did we lose to? We lost to Ensnaring Bridge that we couldn't answer, which I think is a fundamental flaw with our deck that you could definitely address. Just put like an exercise or something in the sideboard would help. And then we also lost to the mono black deck. No, that was, sorry, I'm thinking of a different video I recorded. We lost to the Death Shadow deck. It was when I was playing the Death Shadow deck, I lost to a mono black deck. Apologies. Yes, we lost to the Death Shadow deck in some really tight games that came down to the wire. So that's pretty cool. We did kind of keep a little bit of a shady one that got Wastelanded in one of the games as well. So I think what that actually means is this deck is pretty solid. We all know the core of this deck is really good. Like all the white stuff. And we all know the blue stuff's good because it's just the best blue stuff. So smashing them together doesn't seem the worst. I think not having more answers to artifacts enchantments feels like an issue in the deck that we could probably resolve very easily. Just bang in, like I said, like an exercise. I'll just pull that up for you. Exercise, exile target artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater. So you can take out, you know, the scary Ensnaring Bridge, and it exiles it as well, which is nice for like welders and things. It can take out a big Murktide, which is something I think we wouldn't mind having another answer for. So I think you probably want to cut the ending for an exercise. That would be my first tweak if I was to tweak this deck. Obviously, we didn't really use the ley lines, but then we didn't necessarily run into matchups where you want the ley line. The question is, how much do you want to index into Oops All Spells? If we look at the data as I'm recording this, Oops All Spells is 5.6% of the meta. So do you want to dedicate 4 sideboard slots to that matchup? I guess if we add Turbo Reanimator and Oops All Spells, that's like about 8 to 9% of the meta. Do we want to dedicate 4 slots for that? I guess they also come in against the Epic Storm and Beseech. That's like another 4. So that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Dredge isn't really a percentage. So let's say roughly like 13, 14%. So 14% of the meta, we're dedicating like 20, like nearly a third of our sideboard to 14% of the meta. Is that really where we want to be? I think maybe you can free up some slots by stripping out some Leyline in the Voids because we do have counter magic for those combo decks. We don't need to be for Leyline of the Void. We're not completely shields down like some decks are in that matchup. We've already got the other Force of Negation. So I think I would probably trim the Prismatic Ending, change our Graveyard Hate around. So we probably want 3 pieces of Graveyard Hate, and that gives us another free slot that could be whatever. Like we could have 3 Leyline of the Void and just cut one of the ley lines and add in, you know, like another Exorcise or something. Obviously, we did just lose against an artifact today, so maybe it's fresh in my mind. But I do think that card would also be really useful in matchups like the Death Shadow one, where you get to kill Murktides. So I think that's something to consider. Obviously, the Prismatic Ending can kill Delver and Dragon's Rage Channeler, whereas the Exorcise can't. But we already have Source of Plowshares, and we have Life Gain. I don't think we're too bothered by those things. All in all, I think this deck is really solid. It's just playing good stuff, right? It's not my particular favourite brand of the Ocelot Pride deck. I really like playing mono white with Armageddons because I'm one of those people, I guess. I think Voice of Victory, just meaning that you can actually resolve your Armageddon, is really cool. And then you also get to play more of the lands. So if things go wrong, you've got like your Lazotep Quarries, so you can just get back your guys and have like 4/4 guys. I really like that build. But I think the Mardu build's good as well. If we just look at the data here, Ocelot Pride mid-range, despite only being 2.8% of the meta, it's 4.5% of top 8 finishes. So it's actually one of the very best decks in the format. So generally we tend to ignore stuff that's underneath 2% because the sample size is too small. So if we're looking at just decks 2% or greater, the best performing deck at the moment is Lands. It just had a really good week actually. And then it's Ocelot Pride and Oopsal Spells are the next best deck by performance. And then it's Turbo Reanimator and Omnitel. So like those are your top 5 decks. So what we're doing here is, you know, pretty close to a top 5 deck. I think the temptation when you go into blue, though, is why shouldn't I play, like, Haliya and the Quantum Riddler as well? And that gives us a different angle of attack that you could use that may be quite interesting as well. Maybe you don't need this Lavinia. That's like a slot. You can probably trim down on these. That gives you a couple of slots. Maybe you don't need the Haliya. That's another slot. And maybe you can fit in, like, a couple of Riddlers and a couple of Haliyas. And that'd be kind of interesting. Tamiyo is another card that you could play here. It doesn't really go into our game plan, but it's just such a powerful card that we're running Brainstorm. Maybe we should just play Tamiyo because it's like, you know, one of the best things to do in Legacy right now. All in all, though, very happy with this deck, and I hope you enjoyed this one too. Please remember to like and subscribe, and check out 341 Trading if you need to buy any singles or seal product or whatever. I've had a lot of good feedback from people who have used them, which is always nice to hear about someone who's sponsoring you. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.